ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ। ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ, ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ, ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ, ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ। ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ, ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ, ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ, ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ। ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ, ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ, ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ, ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ। ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ, ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ, ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ, ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ। ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ, ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਤਿਨ ਵਿਧੀਨ ਕੀ ਕੁਲ ਬਿਖੈ, ਪ੍ਰਗਟ ਨਾਨਕ ਰਹੇ। ਸਭ ਸਿੱਖਨ ਕੋ ਸੁਖ ਦੇ, ਜਿਹਤੇ ਭੇ ਸਹਾਏ। ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ, ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ। ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ, ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ। ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ, ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So the Sivadars have asked me to speak on two topics, which is Sarbat Khalsa and the Khalsa Raj. So the Sarbat Khalsa is where the Sikhs would gather to make collective decisions for the Qawm, and Khalsa Raj is the rule of the Khalsa or of the Sikhs, and how that came about and how it will come about in the future. So we have a lot of talk on the internet about being sovereigns. So a sovereign is someone who is not obedient or reliant on another power. So it's someone who's completely independent. It's like a king who rules over his country. He's in charge of the whole of the country. So not like how we've got a prime minister now, because the prime minister is answerable to the house. Whereas if you watch a film about a royal king of England, the king is usually the supreme power other than God in that country. So that person usually rules outright. Now as a Qawm, what we are supposed to be is God-orientated people who are only listening to God. And that might mean that we do not obey laws or other things of the country we may reside in, or other countries we oppose those laws, depending on the situation. So that's happened in Sikh history. That's not to say you have to break laws here to be a sovereign. So a lot of the talk on the internet destabilizes the view of what a sovereign panth is about, because it's not actually based in Gurbani, what Guru Sahib has taught us. So if you're not fully spiritually in tune with what God's teaching you and Gurbani is teaching you, saying you're a sovereign and acting like that might actually get you in trouble with the law, and it might actually be for the benefit of you. So it's a very tricky area, is the best way to describe it. But if you look at Sikhi is, we have Guru Sahib first, Guru Granth, Guru Granth Sahib, Akal Takht Sahib made secondary. So the Sant is always first, the Sapai comes after, and the Sapai only exists if he's got the Santpana. Otherwise he's just another warrior like anyone else who's got no morals. In terms of rule and kingdom and government, so all these images, I'm going to apologise, are made by AI, and I've changed them around and things like that. The talk essentially is really two talks, so it was really hard to put this talk into 1 hour. Now I have a habit of usually finishing my talks early, so that might still happen, even though there's like, I don't know, 29 slides. But any king or any kingdom is about what? Protecting the borders. So protecting their area that they rule over. They usually have an army, forts and treasury in relation to ruling that kingdom. and it's about serving your public. So whoever the Raja is, he parajali seva karda. Yeah, so that king or sovereign or ruler serves the public. So if Starmer's our Prime Minister now, if we don't like him, we can vote him out at the next election, or he might get outvoted now anyway by a leadership challenge within the Labour Party in the next few weeks. So Mr Burnham, who's just come in, might actually take him out as the leader in the next month or so. Any ruler or king can be toppled, so I've mentioned that just now. So it doesn't matter whoever they are, the actual populace that they're ruling over, because he's one person, they're millions usually, they can topple the king. So in theory, Raje Dharmi hone chahiye, the kings or the rulers should be living or basing their rule or kingdom upon dharmic principles, which is righteous principles, or in a moral fashion, to avert them being toppled by their own populace. That's what would make sense in terms of ruling a country. In terms of our mat, in terms of Gursikhi, so Nanak Raj Chalaya Sachakot Satani Nivade. Yeah, so this is in Ramkali ki War, Satya Balwande di War, so they're the grandsons of Bhai Mardana. And in that war, they write this pankti. So it's saying Sri Guru Nanak, Satguru Nanak Raj Chalaya. So Sri Guru Nanak started a kingdom, a rule, a Raj. Sach Kot Satani Nivade. What's that Raj based upon? The truth. Sach. Kot is a fortress. So the true fortress. Satani. Neev is a foundation stone. So the foundation stone of Sri Guru Nanak's Raj is based on the truth. The truth is what? That God is existence in everything. And God exists everywhere. So that's what the Raj is based on. So I looked at the Fridkot Tika Arth for this. So the Fridkot Tika is the first printed translation of Gurbani. And that Arth goes into more depth. So the second slide is actually still explaining that Bhakti. So the fortress is built upon God's true name with the power of Bhakti and Sharda Vishwas, so with faith and devotional practice. And then that Raj is the illumination of God's divine wisdom, so Brahmagyan. So that's what that Raj actually creates, is that illumination of God's name. And it's establishing God's Swarup, so in God's form. And then Bhakti is paramount throughout that. So devotional worship is paramount throughout that. So it's not necessarily that we have this Bhara and this Swarup, but the Bhakti is paramount throughout that. So even if we wear this Swarup, and if we wear a kirpan over the top, regardless of what's gone on in the UK, our Bhakti has to be paramount in that. So the reason we got into these troubles and these problems over the last 2 months is because Bhakti wasn't paramount in any of that happened in that court case. And that's all prevalent to all of you. So the rule of Sikhi should be, individually for us, a Sikh should imbue themselves in Gurbani and Naam and Simran to become one with God. That's what we should be doing. So that's 24/7. That's from the point that you wake up to the point that you go to sleep, to the point throughout your dreams. That's what we should be doing, imbuing ourselves in Naam. That's what we should be doing. That's individually, that is our task in the world. Our task is in the world to do other things. But a sovereign would be completely independent from the travels of the world, so they wouldn't care about going to school, going to work, or doing these other things, because they're only obedient to Guru Sahib. So when you read the Bhagata, the Sakhiyan, all the Bhagats in Gurbani, they all do the wrong thing. They don't go to work. They don't feed their families sometimes. They just do Bhakti. And in the end, their families do get fed. And those things do happen. So your families, as children sitting in this talk, and I'm going to upset the parents who listen at home, your parents will tell you go to school, get a job, get married. What if you just didn't do that? What would happen? You still get fed. They still have to feed you. You still might get money in your life. So it doesn't always follow the path. The Guru Sahib's teaching you something. If you follow that completely, the world is going to get you stuck in the world. Guru Sahib's trying to free you from the world. So everyone who's worldly is going to get you stuck in a worldly task. Someone who is independent of that will get you outside of that. Then they'll say, Roti kidda khaunga? Sant Babbe dekhe? Gaddiyan dekhiyan kehriyan hundiyan ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋ? Yeah, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋ roti ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ? So they get all that, don't they? They get all the treasures, they get all the riches. But your parents are saying, no, you won't get that. But the proof's there in the pudding, it's in front of you. It lives in front of you. So the opposite does exist. It's just that we don't believe it because the whole of society is telling us it won't happen. So society is telling you now to become content creators and whatever. That's the best way, an easiest way to make money. Anyway, nirpo jape sagal po mite. So if we meditate upon that God who's fearless, sagal po mite, all the fears we have in the world, they will disappear. So we all have fear in our lives. That's why we're not sovereign. So we might have a fear of our parents, we might have fear of being bullied at school, fear of our appearance, fear of our language that we're speaking. You may be multifaceted what your fear is of, but if you meditate on that fearless God, then all those fears disappear, because then you start seeing God in everything and nothing affects you anyway. And then what happens is, then if you get God's grace, then you'll be freed from the world. And that's what we've got to do in our Sikhi. So if you've got to go to the Nirpo and get free from the world. Now the problem is the human condition of what we all do in the world. This is from Sukhmani Sahib's Kartoot Pasuki Manas Jat. So it's saying the caste of humankind, which we're all part of now, we're all human beings. What does it do? Acts like animals. Kartoot Pasuki. Pasu, usually in colloquial Punjabi, we refer to Pasu in our homes as cattle. It could be any other animal, but really, generally, we refer to as cattle in our homes. So what we're doing is we're actually acting like animals, but we've been given a human life. So the animal can't actually get mukti. The animal is stuck in a prison sentence. The animal will act its acts out. It can't change its destiny. In human life, you can change your destiny and you can get mukti. The animal can't do that. What do? Like the animals, we eat, sleep, reproduce and die. That's what animals are limited to do. We can do over and above that. But if that's all we do, then we are mere animals. So anyone who comes to the earth and just does these things, then they haven't taken advantage of the human life. So the human life is supreme. It's the one chance that we get in 8.4 million lives. The whole circle of 8.4 million lives is 3.5 billion years. And it could be more than that it takes you to come back to human life. So 3.5 billion years isn't guaranteed. So you've heard of stillbirths or children that die very young. So you might get a chance for 2 months. You might even die in the womb and you're back in the 3.5 billion before you come back. So there's no guarantee on the years. So we've got the chance now. And if we don't take advantage, we have no idea of when we will get that chance again. So it's a pure gamble. I wouldn't gamble. I'm not a betting man. Just do it now. Now, what do we have as examples of this in our lives and our history? So, Guru Sahibs and great Guru Sikhs. So, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji challenged Babur and called him a Jabra to his face, which is a tyrant. So, Babur was the emperor of India at the time. And Sri Guru Nanak to his face challenged him. And there's a Shabad called Babur Bani, which you can read. Now, Babur Bani talks about the paps that he did as well. So, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually challenged him. So, there's a Gurdwara in India where the Chakki Maharaj and PCC and there Maharaj met Babur as well. Sri Guru Angad Dev Ji, Humayun, who was the deposed Raja, he came to Sri Guru Angad Dev Ji and did Benti, and Maharaj said to him, you will get your Raj back. And he does get his Raj back. Sri Guru Amar Das made Akbar the Badshah at the time eating the langar with everyone else sit on the floor. So Maharaj didn't bow down to these emperors as well of the whole of the Indian subcontinent. So Maharaj didn't do that. So when the Queen of England, she's dead now, what was her name? Elizabeth II, yeah? When she went to the Darbar Sahib, she wore socks. Can we wear socks in the Gurdwara? She wore socks. Yeah, so she went and she said, I'm not coming into the Darbar Sahib unless I wear socks. So they said to her, all right, for you, we'll give you Suchiyan Jarabba. So she wore white socks that were given to her when she entered the Parikrama. Would the Gurus done that? They wouldn't, would they? So we compromised as a Qawm so that the Queen of England could walk around the Darbar Sahib with her socks on. You can go back in history and find the photos, you'll find them and they're all there, yeah? And then when she left, she gave them this glass vase, which looks literally like a glass vase you buy from IKEA or Lidl or Aldi, yeah? So the glass vase you can see in the Ajaib Ghar at the Darbar Sahib in the museum. So she gave that. The Panth, the Sikhs, when she went to the Darbar Sahib, they gave her a kirpan, which was like probably worth like £1,000 or something, and 2 other things. I think they gave her 3 gifts in total. So you called her, you allowed her to break your maryada, and then on top of that, tusi mitha bhi khilaya. And then she gave you like a glass that vase, and it's like this. So what did we get out of that? No apology for Jallianwala Bagh, no recompense for anything. But we could say the Queen came to the Darbar Sahib. We don't gain nothing from that, Hannah. So this is the sort of things that happen. So no kneeling or compromise for anyone or anything. That's what our Sikhi teaches us. That's not because we are egomaniacs, but because we bow to the Guru and do what the Guru teaches us. So we have two phases in Sikh history, peace and militarization. So we have peaceful periods that are followed by militarization. That's the pattern. And we're in a peaceful phase now. That's where we are now. Okay? So the Sikhs are saints who meet God. That's what we are. That's what we're supposed to be. Okay? So if you're a Sikh and you say, "Main Sant banana," you can't say that. You're supposed to become Sants. And that's the Bibiyan as well. So it's not a Sant is a male. It can be anyone. And then the Sikhs, throughout this period, soldiers who fight worldly tyranny. So even if the Pelle Panj Paatshahiyyan didn't pick up Shastra, they still didn't kneel, even though they were peaceful throughout that period. So it doesn't mean you have to pick up a Shastra to be rebellious. Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji didn't change Gurbani. That was one of the reasons led to their Shahidi, which was a couple of days ago. Yeah. So that's part of the history. So after that Shahidi, after Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Shahidi, we have the start of militarization, formal militarization, because some things might say Baba Buddha Ji, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji wore a kirpan on the yatre, which some historical texts do mention as well. Guru Angad Dev Ji did wrestling. So it's not that there wasn't any physical element, it did exist, but it wasn't formally introduced for the whole of the Panth in a sense of wearing Shastra fully. So after Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Shahidi, before Maharaj goes to Lahore to give Shahidi, Maharaj tells Sheme Paatshah that you are the next Guru, appoint them before they leave. So the Gur Gaddi Devs actually comes before the Shahidi. So Sheme Paatshah's Gur Gaddi Devs, if you look, it came before the Shahidi Dihara. And then the Miri Piri Tarna Devs comes afterwards. And so Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib says, we're going to build a takht, we're going to keep horses, and we're going to keep Shastra, and we're going to keep an army. So all these things were outlawed to do these things at the time. And then we have the Shahidi of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur, which was peaceful as well. And then Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji militarized us into the form of the Khalsa, which continues to this day. So that militarization form that we've got is continuing today, to this date. In terms of Miri Piri, Sheme Paatshah, so it's two concepts of saintly and a worldly, or a temporal power. So the saintly comes first, so Sri Darbar Sahib comes first, the Akal Takht follows that. And we believe in both, that you can only maintain peace if you've got the temporal power, or you've got the power of the sword as well. You need both. So each country has an army. They have an army just in case they get attacked by another country to protect their borders. The Akal Takht represents a timeless throne and a house of political independence, which is only reliant upon the Guru. So the current house of the Akal Takht, the Akal Takht Jathadar is appointed by the house of the SGPC, which is an elected body which hasn't had elections for 15 years. Constitutionally, they're supposed to have elections every 2 years, so they're actually breaking their own constitution and law. So they're not actually changing their house. So the house is compromised. And we've never had elections until the 1920s in Sikhi. So this Godara might have elections now as well. I'm not sure. In terms of the 1699, the Khalsa creation of the Amrit Sanchar, Guru Sahib eliminated caste and created absolute equality. Now, the people who actually disliked that the most were the Hindus, because the Hindus had a monopoly on religion in their faith of the Brahmins, because the only people who can do the part and puja. So if we do an Akhand Path in India, I think the payment is about 10,000 rupees at the moment. Yeah, in Darbar Sahib, 10, 11, 12,000 Akhand Path ho janda, yeah. If you get a Brahmin to do a part for an hour, he will take 1,00,000 rupees off you. So it's like £100 for an Akhand Path. If you get a Brahmin to do a part for an hour or 1.5 ghanta, they charge £1,000. That still exists today. So the actual challenge was to them more than anyone else. That's why the Hindu Helraj combined their forces with the Mughals to attack the Sikhs, because they didn't want equality within society at the time. Now, spiritual authority was also vested eternally in Guru Granth Sahib. So Guru Sahib is always our Guru for eternal, for as long as we live. And then the Khalsa Panth in the form of Panj Pyare. Now, those Panj Pyare can't be just me and my boys get together and make 5 Sangh, like we like to do. It needs to be 5 Sikhs who can actually do Seva and Amrit Sanchar, and should also not have done any Krayat or not be absolutely abolished from having to go into Amrit Sanchar to do any Maafi for anything. So they should have the highest standard of living. That's who should be representing us in a situation or in officiation for anything as well. So it shouldn't be just 5 people we've got that we're friends with. If they're actually not then they shouldn't be part of that process really. So after the Khalsa is created, Banda Bahadur is sent by Sri Guru Gobind Singh from Nandir to Punjab to avenge the deaths of the Sahibzade, the death of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur, and he's sent with 5 Singhs. Is that right, yeah? Was it 5 Singh, yeah? So 5 Tir, 5 Singh. Now if you think logically, yeah, if we got together now and we said, we're going to India, and 5 of us are going to India to go and defeat their whole empire now, would anyone walk with me? Would the 4 even walk with me? You wouldn't, would you? You think this is completely illogical? So if you look at Sikh history, it's completely illogical. So when people talk about Sikh Raj and they come up with their logic, no, Sanda Sikhi the logic te khara hi nahi, illogical ya. Kehda banda keh duga 5 Singh jaake Mughਲਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਟੱਕਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਰਾਜ ਸਥਾਪਿਤ ਕਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ ਬੰਦਾ. You can't. But that's what happened. 5 Sikhs left. They walked. They gathered some more Sikhs along the way, and they started jang. But that's the bakshish of the Guru and the Sharda and the Bhavana. But we haven't got that. If you've got it, then we can do what we want. Sawa lakh se ek larao. Bhai Mohkam Singh comes out of the Kila, Chamkaur di Gari, and says to Guru Sahib, "Main kalle na ladna. I want to show that one Sikh can fight Sawa lakh, 125,000. Kalla lad ke dikha lunga, because there's 10 lakh fauj, there's a million soldiers outside. So main kalla ladunga, just to show that ho sakda kam." So these things can happen. They are completely illogical, but our God, spirit and soul is all illogical as well. For a logical person, you can't say Parmeshwar hega ya, they'll say no, dikha do. Assi ke sada Rab hega, sanu ta dasda, thanu nahi dasda. That's the difference, isn't it? We can feel the power of God. We know God's with us. They can't see that, so they can't understand it or comprehend it. So Baba Banda Singh Bahadur goes and sets up this Raj. He sets up a Raj. He rules for 6 years. He avenges the deaths of the Sahibzade. He actually goes and kills the what do you call them? The people who kill them. The Jalad is in Punjabi. Executioners. Yeah, my English is quite bad. My Punjabi's got better now. So the executioners. The execution of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur as well. So chon ke mare bande. They were actually found and killed. Now people talk about Banda Singh Bahadur destroying Sirhind, but he didn't destroy the Masjids. Lal Masjid aj tak khari hai utthe us time di. So he didn't destroy the Masjids. So Sikh history as well is written by non-Sikhs a lot of the time. And if it's written by Sikhs, it's also written by Sikhs which were corrupted sometimes. So Banda Singh Bahadur has been made out to be this person who's really disdained in history. Because it's better if you disdain the person who got a Raj, because then you might not get another Raj from these same people again. So I don't actually personally believe a lot of the stains that people put on Banda Singh Bahadur, because I think that works as a political thing, as a tool to say this person was bad so they don't get kingdom again. So he abolished the corrupt zamindar system, which is a feudal landlord. So the peasantry, the normal people, actually started owning land in Punjab through this system. ठीक है? And then he minted coins in the names of the Gurus as well, to say that the kingdom I've got is actually run by Guru Sahib, Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh. And then at the end, when he gives Shahidi as well, he says, when he's getting tortured in Delhi, he says, "Main kair kamaya, par oda phal mein bhugta." So he's not saying, "I didn't kill thousands of people in wars." He's saying, "I did, and for that I'm getting tortured now." So he accepts his karma as well. He's not disagreeing with his karma at the time as well, even though he's getting pinches and they're pulling his skin out and then they're putting his son's heart in his mouth. He's not denying that. And yet Baj Singh as well fought the Mughals then as well in Delhi. So none of them compromised to the end. They didn't accept any failure in their Sikhi. They accepted death. Now this goes on to how a Sarbat Khalsa would work in the past. So if you think of it like this, in Guru Sahib's time, Guru Sahibs started collectives around Diwali and Vaisakhi. So Guru Sahib would send out hukamname and tell all the Sikhs to congregate at Diwali and Vaisakhi. And he was called Diwali, not Bandi Chhor Divas. Let's be clear, yeah? He was actually called Diwali, yeah? So on Diwali and Vaisakhi, that's the historical records, Guru Sahib would send out hukamname and tell all the Sikhs to come to a certain point. So obviously Vaisakhi became Anandpur Sahib, but before that it might have been somewhere else. ठीक है? So that's what the Sikhs were told to do, and then from that point on, national directives were given. So in the Tije Pasha's time, Govindwal Sahib, they started making the Boli around that time, after declaring that. ठीक है? That's when Pasha, obviously the Khalsa was created. So major decisions were around these 2 dates. That's what would happen. After the Khalsa is created, the Khalsa starts getting hunted down, wars happen, Guru Gobind Singh goes to Nandir, goes to Hajur Sahib, and after that period, what happens is the Khalsa starts getting hunted down again by the Afghans that started invading India and ruling India. And then what they did is they said, and the Akal Takht, and the Akal Takht isn't fixed to Amritsar Sahib. So Sheme Pasha left Amritsar and went to Kirtpur Sahib and made a Gurdwara there called Takht Sahib. Because Guru Sahib said the Takht has now moved to here, to Kirtpur Sahib. So that was to show the Sikhs that in a political period, you might have to, because Maharaj had to leave Amritsar at the time, Sheme Pasha did, because of family disputes with the actual relatives who were trying to kill Maharaj as well. But so Maharaj left Amritsar, went to Kirtpur Sahib, made a Takht Sahib Gurdwara. So that's to show that the Takht can move. So in the past, the Takht might have been in the jungles where the Khalsa were, where they gathered. So when they gathered, what they would then do is they would get together, all of the different sects and Jathabandiyah, and then they would dwindle it down to 4 or 5 Sengs who could then pass a decision for everyone. So they would take everyone's views on decisions, and then those Panch would go into conclave and then come out and give the Gurmat this or the decisions for the Panth at that time. So this, they say at different points, and I will go on to the dates now. So they say the first recorded Sarbat Khalsa is 1726. So that's the first one. So Guru Sahib leaves 1708. So it's 18 years later, yeah? So 18 years later, a Sarbat Khalsa is called, the first recorded one. And then after that, what they tried to do is to do every 6 months. And it might not have worked depending on the Panth dynamics at the time, if they're free or not. So in 1733, the Afghans and the Mughal Raj at the time, they actually got that tang from the Sikhs. So what the Sikhs were doing were hiding in jungles, attacking them, and then retreating again. And in the end, they got so fed up with the Sikhs doing that to them, they said, we'll give you a piece of land, and we'll make someone, a Nawab, give you a piece of land and make a Sikh a leader for that land. So Nawab Kapoor Singh becomes the Nawab, and that lasts for a small period of time. But then after that, the missiles come about, which is 65 independent bands of Sikhs into, so it's 65, it's like, let's say you got Leeds, we're in Chapel Town now, yeah? So let's say in the north, we divide this area up into 6 towns of where the Sikhs rule. So it might be Huddersfield, Bradford, Leeds, I don't know, Wakefield, you might have 5 there, Hull, the end of the earth, yeah? I don't know, yeah? Barnsley, whatever it might be, yeah? Blackburn, even worse, yeah? But anyway, so you might say that's a 6 for this area, and then you might have 15 in the West Midlands because there's so much of us, yeah? And then you might have 10 in London, whatever it may be. So that's how they had the 66 independent groups who ruled over or were in specific areas, geographical areas. That's how it actually worked, yeah? So it was actually geographically based. So that's why I mentioned Boring, Barnsley and Blackburn, yeah? But anyway, so those 65 were put into 11 sovereign military confederacies. So they were joined up into 11 overarching, So that's sometimes referred to the Dal Khalsa. And so from that, what comes about is some of those leaders in that started becoming more powerful than the others. And in the end, I'm not going to read this on here because we haven't got time to all of this, yeah? But in the end, Maharaja Ranjit Singh comes about, So Maharaja Ranjit Singh basically becomes too powerful and starts taking over the other confederacies. So he brings together a unified Raj. That's what happens. So before that though, the era of the Sikh missiles also did actually do Delhi Fateh. So they actually conquered Delhi a number of times, and then they retreated. They weren't interested in ruling. What they were interested in was fighting tyranny. So this is people like Jassa Singh Ramgari or Jassa Singh Ahluwalia. They were the leading lights of this period. And so they followed Nawab Kapoor Singh's period, and they were still with the Matama as well. But then what they set up was a Rakhi system. So if you paid them a tax, they would protect your area. Now, as part of this, you have also Bota Singh and Garja Singh, 2 Singhs who set up a Raj between a little area because they were challenged that the Sikhs are dead. And when you read their account, it's so gory that they fight against the Mughals who come to attack them because they say, this is our system. If you're going to go past here, you have to pay a tax because we're ruling this area. They fight, they get stabbed, they get back up, they get spiked, they get back up. Their arm gets chopped off, they get back up. They just literally just do not stop getting back up and fighting non-stop until literally they cannot no longer get back up. They just keep doing that because they just wouldn't stop. Because they wanted to show them that that we don't accept defeat. So they kept fighting and fighting and fighting until they could no longer fight. But the Iraqi system was set up and the cooperative system within the missiles to act independently but unite against united threats like Ahmad Shah Abdali coming and people like that. So they did that effectively. So it was a working system, a confederacy. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh, through his relations, Sadda Kaur and people like that, he already made some inroads early on into joining the kingdom anyway, and then he overall becomes a ruler. But what you have to realise is, he never ruled over the Khalsa. So the Khalsa Sikhs at this time, who were seen as the military element of it, who were the fighters, the soldiers or the elite forces, what you would say like as the SAS today, whoever it may be, yeah? These Akalis, they were complete sovereigns. They didn't accept bowing to anyone, even to the Raja. They said, we only bow to Guru Gobind Singh. So they were called in when it's the worst of the worst. You call this band in and they're the ones who are going to obliterate the enemy. But you know that you can't tell them what to do. You just do beinti to them and they come. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh gets saja from them as well, like from Akali Phula Singh afterwards for misdeeds that he might have done in his Jeevan. So he captures Lahore in 1799 and then his Raj continues for 50 years. And where it gets confusing, his Raj actually ended in 1839, but it continued for 10 years because the British still couldn't take over the Sikh Raj because it was that majboot for another 10 years until they've killed off the family and done inroads and then got people to double cross the Sikhs like the Dogre, and still it took them 2 wars. So they still just about managed to take it after 10 years. And the way they describe, literally like, where these pillars are, literally just rooms like this full of sauna and emeralds and stuff. So we talk about the Darbar Sahib, the sauna on that. Maharaja Ranjit Singh put the same amount of sauna on a mandir as well in India. So he did that for everyone. But all our Gurdwara that we see today, Hajur Sahib, even all the Gurdwara in Pakistan, Maharaja Ranjit Singh did the seva for nearly all of those. So all that Sikh history was preserved by him through this period as well. But what Maharaja Ranjit Singh's downfall partially, you could say, was he never stopped expansion. So he continued expanding and continued going to war and never stopped. So the Raj just kept expanding its borders, so all the way up to Afghanistan, Kashmir and other areas. So when you think of Punjab, just forget it. Our Raj went too far. So when you get the map out for this Raj, it's huge. And the Sikhs were a minority in this Raj as well. They weren't a majority. So when people talk about how you're going to get Khalistan, we've always had a minority rule. We've always ruled over people. We've always been the minority in our own rule. Because if you say we're Shromani, we are Shromani, but we're Shromani then. We're not Shromani now. Because you're on Thalle lage hua. Individually, we could say you're Shromani, but that's your Jeevan if it reflects that. And a lot of us will fall down, including myself. So we can't give it that we're Shromani unless we actually are. And really, we're never Shromani, we're Guru de Pairan de Thalle. Shromani the Guru Sahib. Shromani pana wo hoga. We can't do it. So when the British come in, what happens is, this is quite uncomfortable for me to say in this talk. So what happens is, we actually become the fighting arm for the British. What they do initially, because this Akali band that I mentioned and described, the general Sikh populace all wore 10-footy kirpana. So your Kakari kirpan might have been a small one, because you can't wear a 10-footy to sleep. Yeah? You could try if you want to get stabbed in the middle of the night, yeah? But it won't probably practically work, yeah? It might work under the srana, but the thing is, practically, you'd have to wear a small one to sleep, wouldn't you, yeah? But generally, all the Sikhs and the Bibiyan would all wear 10-footy kirpana as a daily practice. Let's say in a Gatara, you'd have a 10-footy kirpan. So when the British came in, they were like, how do we rule these guys? It took us 10 years of planning to beat them in 2 wars, 2 bloody wars, which we had massive losses in. Now they're all armed. In a minute, they could just chop up our soldiers and just take their Raj back. We can't rule over them. So what they did is they banned the kirpan. They banned the kirpan, the 10-footy kirpan, and they banned the production of arms and of explosives. This was actually outlawed. So it wasn't just the Kirpan, it was about militarization, that the Sikhs cannot sell Kirpana, they can't do these other things. So what the Sikhs did is, they then started making small Kirpana, because they didn't want to give up the Kakari Ret that they wore, that's what they did. So this Kirpan we have today really doesn't exist in Sikh history until this period. You won't find a Kirpan like this until then. That's the truth. So those Shastra used to be different. We can have the arguments of what it is or what it's not, but this Kirpan comes about in that period, that's the truth. Theek hai? So this might upset some other people in the Kirpan arguments, but anyway. In 1857, there was a rebellion in India against the British. When that rebellion happened, the British got a bit shook because they were like, what do we do? How do we rule over this populace? We're only X amount of Gora here. We have to use the general Indian populace to rule over them, or we won't be able to do this Raj. So what they then do is, they go to the Sikhs, and they say to the Sikhs, look, we know you're a military qawm. So they then go to the Sikhs, placate the Sikhs and say, we won't put you in the military, you want to fight anyway. Yeah, so they do this and get Sikhs to start joining the army. The Sikhs are then used to quell rebellion in India. We're the same qawm who creates rebellion and sovereignty, but then we're used to quell rebellion. So Saragari, I've actually written a book on Saragari, and I was co-authored it. I won't tell you the name of the book. My name comes at the end of it, unless the co-authors now deleted it because we don't get along. But when we did the research for that book, and when it got down to it, the Sikh soldiers who died at Saragari and stopped that rebellion, they were actually fighting at people who were trying to fight for their own land. That's the political situation. They were actually trying to fight for their lands. They weren't fighting for anything else. So they were actually fighting to free their land from the British. That's the only reason they were attacking those Sikh soldiers at Saragari. Those soldiers gave their lives to protect the British Raj. The same British Raj which had destroyed a lot of our Sikhi and our institutes and stuff like that. So the Sikhs then were giving their Kirpana back during this period when they started joining the army. So the 10-footy Kirpan might have come back, but it wouldn't have come back as it was before because you've got out of the practice of wearing 10-footy Kirpana. So Sikhs got sort of preferential treatment, let's say, from the British. And then they became the mainstay for the British Army. When there was a big problem, they called the Sikhs in to quell whatever the problem might be or the issue. So the Sikhs then became obedient soldiers to the British. That's what they actually became in that period. Not everyone, but the Sikhs are served in the army. And there's a lot of Mahapurk in this period who actually joined the army, left it and stuff as well. During the British Raj, what happens is the Udasis, who are part of our qawm, the Udasis started Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time from their son. Then the Gaddi went to Baba Gurditta, Sri Guru Har Rai's father, so Shema Pasha's eldest son. And then from that, they set up 4 schools, and then it gets confusing of what their Ayat and Bayat is. That's the truth. But the Udasis are the custodians of all the Gurdwara. So when Sri Guru Gobind Singh leaves Anandpur Sahib, leaves Anandgarh Kila, he actually leaves an Udasi there as the custodian of Anandpur Sahib. So he remains. When the Senghs leave Hajur Sahib, an Udasi stays there and looks after Hajur Sahib, even if there's nothing there, even just the Chikha that's there. So the Udasis became the caretakers of all the Gurdwara throughout the whole of India. They were the ones, because the Khalsa was Shastratari, would be fighting wars, might not be at the Gurdwara, might not be able to stay, they might have to go and hide. So Udasis became that people who looked after the Gurdwara. Now it's confusing to say if they were Amritari or they were not, I don't really know, but they cannot have been Khalsa Sikhs as us, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to survive in the Gurdwara, they'd be killed by the Mughals. So it's nuanced of what it is or what it's not, and we can't work it out. Gyani Sher Singh, the Nihang Singh, his Ustad was an Udasi as well. And I asked him and he was like, I can't tell you what it is now because we don't know ourselves of what their Ayat is or not. Hana. So it's confusing. But the Udasis got in control of the Gurdwara. And then during Maharaja Ranjit Singh's time, what happened was they were given Jagir, so they were given a lot of money by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, so they had massive affluence with the Gurdwara at that time. So they got used to a lot of money. And when the British came in, the British cut all those funds. The British weren't going to fund the Gurdwara like that. So the Udasis that ran the Gurdwara, some of them got corrupted, because they were no longer getting the money, so they started doing corrupt practices. So the one at Nankana Sahib started drinking shrab, doing weird things and drinking alcohol and beating Sikhs up and stuff. So a lot of the Gurdwara fell into the wrong hands. So the Udasis got corrupted. That's not to say the whole of the Udasis were wrong. So what we have a practice of doing is when one person's wrong as part of the qawm, Digway is a Nihang, he's wrong. It doesn't mean all the Nihangs are wrong. ठीक है? So if these Ardasis were wrong, the Mahants, it doesn't mean all the Ardasis were wrong. We can't accept that as an argument. But they were all tarnished. So the Ardasis got ousted from the Gurdwara through a peaceful movement. So the Sikhs peacefully protested to free the Gurdwara, Danga Khake. Yeah? So it was the first time in Sikh history where Sikhs became completely peaceful and didn't actually react and fight back. So they gave Shahidiyan peacefully, freeing the Gurdwara, Guru Ka Bagh, Nankana Sahib, Punjab Sahib. This is how they did it. But it was en masse protests peacefully, not raising arms, and even on railway lines and things like that. So peacefully doing it, en masse. The whole Sikh population was out on the streets. Mahapurkh were the ones who led a lot of it. So Sant Sundar Singh Pindramale as well did Dharna, the Kirtan. That's what it started, the tradition. And so the Mahapurkh's duties were to get the Sangat there. So the Sangat came to the Morche. So Baba Harnam Singh Jianal, I think they were part of Jaito Ka Morcha as well. So the thing is, they got the populace together, but then the Gurdwara got freed, and then this same methodology was copied by Gandhi, because he realized the Sikhs did this. If we do this across India, they want soccer come. So they chose that as a method to copy them, and the Namdadis did similar stuff during this period as well. But the problem was, having liberated the Gurdwara, the Sikhs went home. They no longer participated en masse in the freeing of India. So because for us, the Guru Card were free. The SGPC got set up, so the Shromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee is the committee who controls the Gurdwara in Punjab. And for the first time in Sikh history, we had elections. So the election system started there. Now, if we accept, the election system is correct, would we accept that an idiot should get elected as the Prime Minister of the UK or the USA? Because I would call Boris Johnson an idiot. I would call Trump an idiot. Proof's in the pudding, it's front of us, isn't it? Because an election system, if you've got enough money and you can pay enough money on social media or on advertising in convincing the people, you can get that person voted in. So that's not actually based on a moral basis. So our moral basis is Panj Pyare Tiyar Bar Tiyar. That's what our basis is, not this British system. So even the house of the SGPC, if you've got enough money and guns, you can take the house. That's what happens. This Gurdwara, if they got an election, if I've got enough gangster friends in Leeds and I call them down at the Gurdwara, put them outside the Gurdwara and threaten all the other Babbe in Leeds, say, we're going to take your knees out tonight, if you vote the wrong way, you think they're going to vote? So it's a corrupted system. That's the main point. You need to get away with that. So an election isn't a democratic system, isn't a preferential thing. The British knew this. They knew that they could then control the House of the Sikhs through this. So if the Shromani Committee haven't had elections for 15 years, do you think the BJP want them to have an election? The BJP are controlling them by proxy. If the BJP didn't have control of the House, they'd call an election today. So it's quite nuanced to what goes on. Sikhs went on to help free India in this period. And this is so what we did is, we left en masse, but serasi ditte. We still give the Qurbaniya. So out of 121 freedom fighters executed, 73 are Sikhs. Out of 2,664 people sentenced to life, 2,147 are Sikhs. Out of those martyred at Jallianwala Bagh, 800 are Sikhs. There's only 1,400. So Sikhs ne Qurbaniyan de ke azad kita Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, the Sikhs da Punjab vadya gaya. So we give the Qurbaniya. So when you see the Indian flag, it's got the orange on it. That's for the Sikhs. But we gave that, but then they cut our Punjab in half. So that's what we get. So our Punjab is cut in half our Gurdwara on the other side, and half on this side. And then as part of that, 1 million people die in the partition violence. And the guy who did the partition, he's a paedophile. I can't remember what his name is now. He's related to the Queen as well. It's part of their family. No, that's a Radcliffe line. The actual commission at the time. I can't remember his name is now. But you can look, Mountbatten. So Mountbatten, he was actually in charge of this process. They didn't care. Draw the line, let them die. They didn't care because they didn't manage it on purpose, because they couldn't care less. They were leaving India. So they didn't care. So, and then when we get India, where we've sided with, as opposed to Pakistan, because half our stand were on that side as well. ठीक है? The Indian constitution says we're Hindus. Sikhs are a part of Hinduism. That's what it says. So that's part of the constitution, isn't it? So, and then the Sikhs were increasingly seen and treated as criminals. That's by their prime ministers. So I've not got the quotes in this PowerPoint. There are other PowerPoints because I didn't want to concentrate on these points. We've got 12 minutes left. And then after that, we have decades of agitation in India because Punjab was supposed to get Punjabi language as its primary language, as each state did for the linguistic basis. So the Sikhs started protests for that. In 1955, they attacked Darbar Sahib. The Indian government attacked Darbar Sahib. So we've got the photos. It's very hard to find them on the internet now. So what happens is, for people like me or Pracharaks, we find something and then 10 years later we try to find it and it's disappeared off the internet. They actually delete the stuff off the internet. The only way sometimes you get some of the stuff back is you have to go on the Internet Archive and then get it out of that because it's still saved there. So never forget 84 got retrieved from the archive. That's how they got it back. Amjad Joe got arrested in India. But it's very hard to find some of the stuff. So when we find it now, we just download everything and just put it on hard drives or give it to other things. So in 1966, a Punjab is created, which will have Punjabi language, but it's truncated. So Delhi's gone out of it. Haryana's gone out of it. Parts of it go to UP. So it's gone down. So where I go in India, I go to Haryana all the time, not far from Ambala. Ambala, all the people are Punjabi speaking, but it's part of Haryana. So those areas got lost as well. So we got a small Punjab, that's what we've got today. But now the problem we have is the population's converted to Christianity and then the Sikhs are all leaving Punjab. So Punjab will no longer be ruled by a Sikh majority anyway, sooner or later, that's the reality. In 1978, the fake Nirankars murdered 13 Sikhs and we got no justice. The case was transferred by Prakash Singh Badal to another state. He was the chief minister. He allowed that to happen. It's his son now trying to get elected for the Akali Dal, the next elections next year. 1982 to 84, peaceful demonstrations asking for civil rights for the Sikhs. So you had the Kisan Morcha, the Mang were the same then. Crop prices, water's not stolen from Punjab. If it is taken from Punjab, recompense to Punjab. Punjab is a water-rich state which is becoming a desert. We've irrigated desert land in Rajasthan, but we're becoming desert land ourselves. And that's not allowed by international law. So we should get recompense, but we don't in the Indian state. That's what happens. Peaceful Morcha for 2 years, 250,000 Sikhs, court arrest, and then they attacked Darbar Sahib. Now, this Nara, Raj Karega Khalsa, Aki Rehna Koi, we all say this in Ardas, don't we? Yeah? Let's get this back. So we say this in Ardas. So this Nara was used to ban the All India Sikh Students Federation that was led by Shahid Bhai Amrik Singh. So in the court case, this line was actually used to say this is anti-India, and for this reason, the federation gets banned. So the federation got banned, I think 83 it was. I think they got banned. I might be wrong with the dates. But, so the Indian state were actually saying that you can't say this. We say this in Ardas, yeah? So what does it actually say? Raj Karega Khalsa, the Khalsa were who's the Khalsa? The Khalsa, the pure, the ones who are one with God. We would obviously like Khalsa Sikhs like us, but in a pure translation, it's just anyone who's one with God, you could say. Yeah? But we're actually saying, obviously, us, Aki Rehna Koi, but anyone who opposes that will no longer survive. So what we're actually asking for in that line is a Khalsa Raj which doesn't oppress the public, which is ruled by pure beings, which happened during Maharaja Ranjit Singh's time, which happened during Banda Singh Bahadur's time. So we've done these things in the past. We're not asking for anything which hasn't happened in Sikh history. June 1984, genocide of the Sikhs, foundation stone for Khalistan was laid. That's what Sant Lal Singh said, and that's what happened. We didn't ask for Khalistan. We didn't ask them to attack Darbar Sahib. If you're going to say Sant Lal Singh was wrong, let's accept he was wrong. Why attack another 62 Gurdwara? There wasn't 62 Sant Lal Singhs, were there? They attacked 62 Gurdwaras simultaneously around those dates in 1984. So they forced it upon us. If you look at Sikh history, we're peaceful. We are peaceful. We only take up arms when it's forced upon us. Panjveं Pasha ne shaheedi ditte, Naveं Pasha ne shaheedi ditti. Yeah? Now, 2 years of Qurbaniya, and it's only after that, after they attack the Gurdwara, that we then pick up arms. So a Kharku, militarized form of the Sikhs arose. A Sarbat Khalsa was called in 1986. that Sarbat Khalsa was heavily influenced by the Damdimi Tuksal. So the Damdimi Tuksal ran that Sarbat Khalsa, that's the truth of it. But the problem that Tuksal had at that moment, if they got in opposing groups to themselves, it might not have happened because the government was still there, weren't they? So they could ruin the whole of the process. So the Tuksal kept in their circle of trust, let's say. Now, everyone accepts this Sarbat Khalsa, even those people who opposed it at the time. ठीक है? So a Bantha committee of 5 Singhs was appointed from here. So this is January 1986. 2 of those Singhs are still alive. One lives in America, one lives in India. So the Vasan Singhs of Rawal and Tanna Singh. An opposing Smellan was called in 1986 in September by the SGPC in Anandpur Sahib, I think it was. So the first Sarbat Khalsa of January actually said we disbanded the Shromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee and we're replacing the Jathadars. So that was one of the decisions, and that never got implemented fully because the Shromani Committee worked with the government to quell the movement and stuff as well. So that never got implemented fully, and the Shromani Committee still exists, obviously. Numerous factionalized Bantha committees emerged as well. So this was the first original Bantha committee, then there was another Bantha committee, and then another Bantha committee, so it just got ridiculous, yeah? And then in 1992, the Sikhs en masse boycotted the elections, which led to Chief Minister Beyant Singh coming in on a 7 to 10% vote of the population, who then just basically murdered the population of Punjab to kill any militants. They'll literally pull out a whole family, kill them, say, where's this guy? And if they don't know, just kill them. And they went around doing that for 3 years. So the boycott led to the downfall of the movement, and the people who actually implemented the boycott, a lot of them are alive today, who are Khalistani leaders, and the boycott is what is the demise of the movement. So a lot of people didn't agree with the boycott either, and they're still alive as well. So from that, 1995, Beyant Singh gets blown up, assassinated, with Dilawar Singh, by Balwant Singh Rajwana, by Jagtar Singh Hawara, by Jagtar Singh Tara, and another few by Piora, Panajit Singh Piora, and there's a few other guys, Kashmir Singh Engineer, there's 1 or 2 others. So as a conspiracy, there's about 7 or 8 of them who were in the court case. Rajwana gets the Sajaya Maut, so he's supposed to be sentenced to death, and the others get life sentences. That's how they got sentenced for that. Now, there was a second Sarbat Khalsa about 11 years ago, so in 2015. Now, this Sarbat Khalsa came about because the Shromani Committee had given Maafi, so the Takht Jathadars, including Ram Singh from Hajur Sahib, they actually pardoned someone called Ram Rahim. So Ram Rahim was this guy who runs this cult called Sacha Sadda. He dressed himself as Guru Gobind Singh, wore a pink chola, pink dastar, and made a pink milkshake, which he said was his Amrit for his followers. So he's still alive. Yeah, he gets bail and stuff and comes out of jail. And for that, they did a hukamnama against it, but then the Shromani Committee's Jathadars gave a maafi to him, pardoned him. And then there was massive outcry from the Sikhs, and to the extent that the Kaltang Jathadar, when he'd go somewhere, he'd get attacked. Yeah, and he had to get like bodyguards and all that sort of stuff. So that was Gurubhajan Singh at the time. So there's massive ill feeling against the SGPC at this point. And then what happened is, a Biadabi happens at Burgari, and what happens is, the followers of Ram Rahim took Guru Granth Sahib the Swaroop from a Gurdwara, ripped the ang, threw them in the gully of the pen, and wrote on the wall, "Come and get your Guru if you can." The Sikhs went round trying to find that Swaroop, and they were about to find the Swaroop, and it turned out that those people who had taken the Swaroop were linked to the Akali Dal, and then they were stopped. And then protests started in Burgari, and when the protests started, Sukhbir Singh Badal told his police officer, Sani and people like that, to open fire on the protesters. This is on Sikhs, and 2 Singhs got shaheed. I think it was Krishna Bhagwan Singh, who was a Trim Singh, and Balkar Singh, I think the 2 names were. They got shaheed in those protests. And then, because of all this that happened in the Burgari Kand and Biadabi continuously happening in Punjab, so the Shromani Committee now are crying about the new law that's been created, but the truth is, where were they when all these Biadabi happened? They've got like 20,000 staff members. If they want to do a morja, they can just get everyone out on the streets if a Biadabi happens, but they're never there. Now they don't agree with the law, now they're crying every day on the press. But when it was actually being implemented, they didn't do nothing. So it's like it works when they want it to work. Now, this was a mass gathering of about 500,000 Sikhs, this Sarbat Khalsa. And the government banned it, didn't give them land, and then they did it somewhere else in Jabba and Taran. So in reality, it was controlled by Simranjit Singh Man's Akali Dal, the stage was for this Sarbat Khalsa. So they're the ones who pointed the Jathedars for this, really. And so they also said removal of the current Jathedars and appointment of parallel Jathedars, Jagtar Singh Hawara as the Akal Takht Jathedar. He has since then written a handwritten letter saying he resigns from that post as well. So it's complicated. So we would all say we accept Hawara as a Jathedar, but him being the Jathedar, we haven't used it as a tool to get him out of jail or get him transferred to Punjab. We've just left him to rot. So that's not even happened as well. And reaffirmation of the Sarbat Khalsa of 1986. So they said we agree with all the matters that were passed then. And then the freedom of the Bandi Singhs. So these are Sikh prisoners who've served their sentences but are still not being released from jail. So they've done over their time. So the killers of Rajiv Gandhi were women, Tamil women. One of them died on the day, and then others have been released from jail since because the Tamil community have supported them to get pardoned from their sentences. Now, we've had the meeting in Coventry. Was it last week? I can't remember, yeah. I don't know my days, yeah. So at that meeting, these resolutions were passed. So I've just been told to bring this up, Anna. So these are the resolutions from that meeting. Non-negotiable red line regarding the Kirpan legislation. So the Kirpan legislation, we can wear any size really, Hannah, but we're saying we're not going to compromise in changing that. So we don't want any Sikh or any Jathebandi going to the government or going to anyone and say, no, we can wear a galali or we can wear a small one. We don't want anyone saying that. What the law is already, it stands there. And the reason it's there in the way that it is because if we have a Nagar Kirtan and we said you can't have a 10-foot Kirpan, then you can't even have one at a Nagar Kirtan. So it's there to allow the Sikhs to practice their faith. So when they banned zombie knives and these other things, the Senghs luckily got it in to have a curved blade in there, which is a Siri Sahib, a 10-footy. Otherwise, that would have been banned as part of that legislation as well. I think it was in 2018. Action on anti-Sikh hate crimes. So they've sent round a survey for people to fill out. So they want to set up a national monitoring group of some sort. And they've asked people to also volunteer. I don't know if they haven't sent out on the day they had like QR codes, but they haven't set up anywhere where you can actually submit if you want to get involved in things. Government to have direct Sikh consultation, but as part of that was to say, we don't want a specific group to go to the forefront and try being the first people to talk to the government. So we know people have got certain relationships, but as part of this, the Senghs who got involved in dealing with the whole case and the media response, I was part of it initially, is that they want everyone involved. They don't want a specific Jathebandi having a monopoly on this. And internal safeguarding mechanisms for us as the Sikhs. Now I have to be careful because the camera's on. So it's things like, you can only wear one Kirpan, so you cannot wear two, it's illegal. It's very uncomfortable for me, but I have to put my Kirpan under my jola sometimes and have to wear it like a gun, like a holster, because otherwise I can't hide it if I'm running and things like that. And so if you're going to wear two Shastar, put the second one on here at the Godara when you get here, then you can get away with saying it's ceremonial or whatever it may be. So you have to be careful. We have to police this ourselves, that in the future, if another incident happens, we are safeguarding the Sikh Qawm. So we should never, ever put our self-interest forward in any criminal case over the Qawm. Because that's what this case is about. That happened with Digwa. He put his own personal safety before everyone else's at every juncture. He didn't think about the strategic implications for the Sikhs. And Novak's family were really kind to us throughout the whole process. And they have been as well. So they've not done us in as they could have, because of revenge. So internally, we need to be quite smart of how we deal with these things. So they're going to roll out a program of Kirpan Sambal. So some of our children go to schools, the Kirpan falls out the Gatra, they don't know the Kirpan's been on the toilet floor for the last 5 hours. So it's simple things like that. You need to be securing your Shastra and know where they are all times as well. Buljak Dikhema, they're going to do questions. I've done it in the full hour. I've done well. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.